Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Notorious PMG here, ready to talk about George A. Romero, a true pioneer, a true icon in the horror community. He is by far one of the best American horror directors ever. Definitely belongs in the Mount Rushmore of horror American directors. The guy was a pioneer. He was very smart. A lot of people liked him. Every single special feature that I hear when they talk about George A. Romero, how nice he was. He was a shy guy. He was awesome to work with. Everybody always talks positive things about George A. Romero. And before I get into him and his movies, and because that's what I'm gonna be talking about, some of his movies, I would like to share with you my experience with George A. Romero. As I met him about 10 years ago. I met him at a place called Spooky Empire, which is Orlando here in Florida, an Orlando horror convention event. The strangest thing of everything, like I still can't believe it to this very day, is that usually when you go to Spooky Empire or you go to any of these horror conventions, there's a table and there's the celebrity, and usually you have not a bodyguard, but a guy that collects the money and takes pictures with you and the celebrity in the booth, or makes sure that you pay and then the celebrity signs the autograph. Well, George A. Romero was by himself at the table with no one near him, and it was just him alone. And I believe I went on a Friday night or a Saturday night, I don't remember, but it was like 10 years ago. And he was just by himself. There was no long line, there was no wait. He was just there chilling by himself, and I saw him there, and I'm like, holy shit, let me go talk to Mr. Romero over there. So without line, no wait, no one behind me, nothing, no rush, we just started talking, and he talked back. He was a very nice guy. I talked to him, we talked about his movies. I asked him what was his thoughts on The Walking Dead, because back in the day, like about 10 years ago, I was really into The Walking Dead. Now not so much. It's not. That show went downhill. I think after season 4 or 5, it wasn't starting to suck. But anyways, so I asked him about The Walking Dead, and his honest opinion was that he didn't really like The Walking Dead. He didn't like anything about it, and and then we started talking about his movies and his experience. He was really humble, really nice guy. He took his time. He signed my Dawn of the Dead DVD. I didn't have the Blu-ray at that time, so it was just the DVD. So I got his autograph. It's somewhere out there, somewhere up there, somewhere. I'm gonna have to do a video on it. I'm gonna have to do a video on it. One of these days, do like a room tour video and show all the autographs that I have, and show you guys what I got. But George A. Romero was really nice. It's very surprising that nobody was there. He was there by himself, and I took advantage of it. I spoke to him for a while, and he was nice. He was a cool guy. I'm never gonna forget that. I took a picture with him, and he signed my DVD, and he was. I can't believe that there was nobody there. There was more people for Danny Trejo. There was a lot of Nev Campbell was there. I forgot who else was there. Tony Todd was also there. Everybody had a pretty decent big line, but George A. Romero had no line, and I'm like, wow, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a Florida thing. Maybe nobody knows who the fuck he is here in Florida. I don't know. It's kind of fucking weird, but he was by himself. I'm never gonna forget that. So I wrote notes, obviously, about all the movies that I saw. This is a total of 3 movies that I'm gonna talk about. All directed, of course, by George A. Romero. And a little bit about him. He was born in New York on February 4th, 1940. He was known as the Godfather of the Dead. That's a great, great nickname for him, the Godfather of the Dead. Um, so I jotted some notes down here that said, well, he died on July 16th, 2017, at the age of 77 in Ontario, Canada, of lung cancer. He was a chain smoker, so he smoked a lot, and he got lung cancer, and it got worse and worse and worse. So, according to his longtime producing partner, Romero died while listening to the score of one of his favorite films, The Quiet Man, from 1952. He died with his wife and his daughter by his side. That's a pretty good way to go. He was active from 1960 to 2017. He had 3 children, and he was married a total of 3 times. From 1971 to 1978 with Nancy, from 1980 to 2010 with Christine, and 2011 to 2017 with Suzanne. So the guy's been married 3 times. And I'm telling you, no one talks shit about him. He was always very well respected and very well appreciated for everything that he did as a filmmaker. So, let's get into the review portions of this video. The first one I'm going to talk about here is going to be Survival of the Dead. Why am I starting with this? Well, this is the order that I watched them, so I'm gonna talk about these movies as I watched them. So I saw this one, and this is second or third time watch for me. I've seen it before, and boy, Jesus Christ, this got to be probably one of his worst movies ever. It wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't awful. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but definitely not a George A. Romero primetime zombie movie. I mean, I know throughout the years they've been getting worse, like, Diary of the Dead and Land of the Dead. Those were pretty bad, but this one was like the worst one from the later era, his later era. So here we got the Survival of the Dead, and this let me see some notes that I took here. It was released in 2009. It is rated R with 1 hour and 30 minutes, a running time of 1 hour and 30 minutes. It is zombie horror and is written and directed by George A. Romero. It stars Alan Van Sprang as Sarge, which, by the way, Sarge was also in Diary of the Dead in 2007. Kenneth Walsh as O'Flynn, and Caitlin Monroe as Jane and Janet, the twins. Anyways, surprisingly, the surprising thing about this movie is that it was produced by 12 fucking people. 12 people produced this shit. Can you? I just can't believe that 12 people had to. 12 people produced this fucking movie. And not only that, I also read online that this movie had 60 to 70 titles before going with Survival of the Dead. What the fuck? 60 to 70 titles before deciding, oh, you know what? Let's call it Survival of the Dead. Oh, well. Anyways, so more notes about this. It was filmed in Ontario, Canada. Most of the actors and actresses in the movie were all Canadians, except for one guy, Julian Richings. He wasn't Canadian. It was a financial disaster. It had an estimated bonus of $4 million, and it only made $43,000 on opening weekend in Canada and the U.S. Worldwide, it got $386,000. Garbage compared to 4 million. So it was a disaster. It was a failure. It was terrible. Rotten Tomato has it at a 29%. Metacritic has it at a 43%. And IMDb has it at 4.8 out of 10. Very low. Very low. So the DVD Magnolia Magnet is the one that responsible for releasing this stuff. It has special features here. Introduction by George A. Romero. Time with George. An HD net look at Survival of the Dead. And also an audio commentary with George A. Romero and crew. I haven't heard the audio commentary, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to hear what he has to say. What else? What else do I got here? Trivia. I got some trivia on this Survival of the Dead. So supposedly George A. Romero had plans to have a new trilogy. A new set of trilogy for the horror, for the Dead series. So this was going to be the first one. And then the second one was going to be the Road of the Dead. And then another one after that one. But due to his declining health, the lung cancer and all that stuff, he just couldn't continue and he stopped working. So I can't imagine how part 2 and 3 would have been. I mean, who knows? Maybe it would have been good. We would never find out. But his original plan was to make a new trilogy, and Survival of the Dead was going to be the first one. This was by far George A. Romero's least successful movie of his entire catalog. It was a disaster. It was the last film, sadly, the very last film, directed by George A. Romero, and what else? And that's unfortunate because it sucks that he had to leave us with this junk. All right, so here I go. This DVD actually, look, it's an old, as you can tell, it's one of those old Blockbuster video cases. And I believe I got this movie when the Blockbuster by my house was closing. I probably got it for $1.99 or something. I have no interest in upgrading this to a Blu-ray or nothing like that because I don't, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not. I mean, if I see it on Blu-ray for like $2, $3, I'll probably get it. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to look for it on Blu-ray or none of that stuff. So I'm fine with the DVD for now, and I guess I'll just be okay for it for a while. Anyways, so some notes that I actually took about the movie. Somehow, some way, a bunch of these actors in this movie looked very, very, very familiar. So when I did a little bit of research, 5 of these actors, 5 of them, have been in Saw movies. So that's why I'm like, wait a minute, I know this guy, I know this girl, I know this guy. So yeah, they're all from Saw, from different Saws. So that's interesting. And then actually, when you first watch this movie, well, not, when I first saw the movie, I could have sworn this was like in Ireland or England or Scotland or some shit like that, because the accent, especially of the guy that plays O'Flynn, well, with the last name like O'Flynn, you would figure that they're from Ireland. But no, this is actually based on, in the movie, it's an island off the coast of Delaware. And that's, to me, it's like mind-blowing, because if you look at this movie without not even paying attention to it, you would figure from the start, hey, you know what? This is from Ireland. But no, it's not. It's from Delaware. So it's a simple story. Basically, there's beef between these two families, the O'Flynns and the Muldoons. So the story goes that the Muldoon camp, the Muldoon people believe that zombies can be domesticated. They could be trained. They could be, trained not to eat human flesh, but to eat other kind of animals or other vegetations. Totally different from the old Flynns. The old Flynn believes that you see a zombie, you shoot him in the head, you kill him, and that's it. It's done. Well, they've been way before this. They've had problems about whose land and who owns the territory and who. So they hate each other from day one. But now because of the zombie issue, they both have different point of views of the zombie situation. So at the very beginning, I was 100% right, backing up O'Flynn about that. If a zombie's coming at me, I'm gonna shoot that fucker in the head. I agree with him 100%. But then later on in the movie turns out to be that the Muldoons were right about something. You shouldn't kill them. They should learn, because at the end they find something. And everything. They find a way. That's to say, they find a way. But overall, the acting was okay. The acting was pretty good. No complaints about there. It did not feel like a cheap movie or a low budget movie. It felt like a nice, very good, well produced film. It had pretty good scenes here and there. Not too gory, not too crazy, but a typical zombie film. To me, this movie felt more like a longer episode of The Walking Dead, which is kind of ironic because he didn't like The Walking Dead. But that's what it felt like a little bit longer episode of a regular Walking Dead show. And at the end, the feud between the two old guys didn't go anywhere. I mean, even after death, they still hated each other, and you would see that at the end. At the very end, you're gonna see that even after death, they hate each other. So, long story short, the social commentary of this movie is, I mean, it has a good way of putting that. George A. Romero is trying to tell people that you shouldn't start wars too soon. You should talk about it. You should find out, not get into fights right away, because shit like this happens. And at the end, it was very unfortunate that the two camps, the O'Flynn and Muldoons, were battling like that, because they could have come to terms. And basically, that's what George A. Romero does in most of his films. He has a different meaning. He expresses different concerns throughout these zombie films, and that's what I like about him. He's very good at that. So overall, I am gonna give this movie a 5.0, a 5 out of 10. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's as bad as the internet people say it is. Everybody hates on it. Everybody shits on it. It's not the greatest Romero movie. It's not the best zombie movie, but it's far from the worst. So I would say a 5 out of 10 for Survival of the Dead. That's the front cover. This is the back. The back of it. I just feel bad that this was his very last movie, and it's very unfortunate because he could have done something a lot better than this as his last project, in my opinion. So that's Survival of the Dead, 5.0 out of 10. On to the next one. And my next George A. Romero movie is Monkey Shines. Monkey Shines. What can I say about Monkey Shines that hasn't been said yet? Well, alright, so let's talk about this movie and kind of like the profile of it first. Released in 1988, rated R, with a running time of 1 hour and 53 minutes. It is based on a novel by Michael Stewart. The novel is also called Monkey Shines. The screenplay is written by George A. Romero and it's directed by, obviously, George A. Romero. Starred Jason Behe, John Panko and Kate McNeil. It had a budget of $7 million and it grossed $5 million. Another losing uh, streak, another losing movie for George A. Romero. He fails to make money off of this as well. I don't know. It's funny because I think he's awesome. I think he's done a lot of good movies, but man, he doesn't sell well. Let me tell you. 7 million, a budget of 7 million, it gross worldwide $5 million. That's not good either. It's not as bad as Survival of the Dead, but still not good. Anyways, film locations is it was filmed in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's actually where Tom Savini is also from, which I don't understand. Tom Savini is in this movie. He's the special effects artist in this movie, and I don't really think they needed him. It was barely any gore. You know, I guess the animatronic. I don't know why they used Tom Savini. It was a waste of money, in my opinion, to use Tom Savini in Monkey Shines. I think he could have done something else in 1988. Rotten Tomato has it at a 53%. IMDb has it at a 6.2 out of 10. And Letterboxd has it at a 3.1 out of 5 stars. Trivia about Monkey Shines. This was George A. Romero's very first studio film released by Orion. He was pissed off because Orion recut the film against Romero's wishes, which he blames for the box office failure, and he went back to independent filmmaking after this event. So basically, George A. Romero did a complete different movie, and without his knowledge and consent, the studio cut a bunch of stuff and remade the movie and put it out there. That's what he blames, that's why the movie failed. However, in my opinion, this movie targeted the wrong crowd, the wrong audience. George A. Romero already had a reputation in 1988 of horror movies and zombie movies. Well, this movie honestly does not feel like a horror movie. The first 45 to 50 minutes of it's a Lifetime movie, a Hallmark Lifetime movie. This guy was the main guy, Alan. Alan gets paralyzed from the neck down, so he becomes a quad. When he gets hit by a truck, he works out. He likes to work out. He puts bricks on his book bag, and then he starts running with bricks on top of him. And one of these mornings that he's jogging around, he gets hit by a truck. Which, by the way, that scene sucks. He gets hit by a truck, and he goes flying, and then he becomes paralyzed from the neck down. Then we see him that the doctor is performing surgery on him. They can't do much about him, and then all of a sudden he's in a wheelchair with a little straw that helps him move around with the wheelchair. Can't move his arms, can't move his legs. He can't do much. So on top of that, his girlfriend or his wife cheats on him with the doctor that actually does surgery. So he is a wreck. He's a bitter and angry guy. So then they get this monkey over here. And they kind of make some experiments that the monkey, he sees through the monkey's eyes, and then the monkey moves around, and then some kind of bullshit like that. It didn't work. It doesn't. They could have done so much more with the monkey and killings and a lot of stuff. The monkey didn't do much, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought they could have done a lot more than that, but whatever. It is what it is. This is actually one of the first times, maybe only time, that they actually use a male monkey, because they usually use female monkeys because they say male monkeys are very aggressive. So I don't know for what reason they used a male monkey, but this little monkey over here was a male. this is a Scream Factory release, so it's a nice addition. It has the alternate. Uh, this is the different cover. So it has two covers. It's very similar as this one, which is really cool with a knife there, with a blade, and then you got this one with the symbols. I remember going to the video shop and seeing this VHS all the time. That's why I that's why it brings a lot of memories of me going to the video store and seeing this art cover like on the shelves. Anyways, so back to the movie. Believe it or not, the movie the script had 240 pages. 240 pages equals 240 minutes. Can you imagine how long this movie would be? I feel like this movie was way too long as it is. An hour and 53 minutes should not tell the story. This story should have been told in 90 minutes tops. Probably 80 minutes. It was very boring at times, and it had no horror feel to it. I mean, it is what it is. It didn't feel like a George A. Romero movie at all. The what the fuck moment of this movie has to be like, I'm not a doctor or anything, but can a paralyzed person from the neck down have sex? I have no idea. Maybe they can, but this guy had sex and he's paralyzed from the neck down. I don't know how that thing works, but he has sex. So then other than that, I put on the notes that it was very long. The story was great, well told, but it felt like a drama movie, like a soap, very soapy, very soap opera-ish. Like a Lifetime channel. Other than that, I mean, I have nothing more to say about this. The storyline, it was what it was. My final rating on this, I'm just gonna tell you my final rating on this because I didn't really care much for it. I put it at a 6.5 out of 10, just because I like it a little bit better than Survival of the Dead. If I had to pick, if you tell me let's go watch a movie and let's watch this or this, I would probably tell you Monkey Shines. Even though it's longer, it's way too long for my taste, but it's a good movie. It's just not what I expected it to be. And this is my second or third watch. They say the more you watch the movie, the more you like it. Doesn't apply to this. 6.5 out of 10 for Monkey Shines. So far, George A. Romero's not doing too good, huh? Anyways, before I get to my third movie, I gotta share with you guys something that I read online about George A. Romero movies. I usually don't go to Entertainment Weekly for any kind of source or anything, but definitely I agree like 100% with this ranking. So they put the top 17 George A. Romero movies. So I'm gonna read you the top 17 movies according to entertainmentweekly.com, which I strongly agree with this list. At number 17, they have from 1971, There Is Always Vanilla. Personally, I saw it. I didn't like it. It's probably his worst movie. It's a very tough watch. Number 16, they got Survival of the Dead. Right here. Survival of the Dead. Number 16, 2009. At number 15, they got Two Evil Eyes from 1990. At number 14, from 2005, Land of the Dead. Number 13, Diary of the Dead from 2007. And number 12, from 1975, The Amusement Park. That one I've never seen in my life, so I can't talk about that one. The Amusement Park, I've never seen that one. Then in 1993, At number 11, 1993, The Dark Half. At number 10, from 1972, Season of the Witch. At number 9, from 1988, Monkey Shines. Yep. At number 8, from 1973, The Crazies, which I thought was pretty good. The Crazies is good. Now here we go. Number 7, from 2000, Bruiser. Bruiser at number 7. I'm okay with that. Number 6, 1981, Night Riders. I don't think I've ever seen that one either. Number 5, here we go. Top 5 George A. Romero movies. Number 5 from 1978, Martin. Number 4 from 1982, Creepshow. Number 3 from 1985, Day of the Dead. Number 2, 1968, Night of the Living Dead. And of course, number 1 from 1978, Dawn of the Dead. That is a perfect list in my opinion. Perfect list. I really like that list. The top 17 movies of George A. Romero. Number 1, Dawn of the Dead, for sure, hands down. That is his masterpiece. However, this is my third and final movie from the George A. Romero episode that I'm doing here. The Master of Horror. That is Creepshow from 1982. We got Creepshow. 1982, rated R, running time 2 hours, written by Stephen King, directed by George A. Romero. The perfect combination. Stephen King, for many years, has been doing so many great novels. Great writer, great book novelist, writer. He's amazing. And then you put George A. Romero to direct something he wrote, and it's a perfect combination. The budget for Creepshow was $8 million, and it grossed worldwide $21 million. Hooray. Finally. George A. Romero has a winner here. He won they won $21 million. It stars Hal Holbrook, Adrienne Barbeau, Leslie Nielsen, Ted Danson, Stephen King himself, E.G. Marshall, Tom Atkins, and Fritz Weaver. Just to name a few. There's way more people in this collection of anthology. This is honestly one of my favorite, if not my favorite, anthology film of all time. Really fucking good. Surprisingly, it's distributed by Warner Brothers, and I don't know how Scream Factory got a hold of it, but Scream Factory did this version. They don't have Scream Factory doesn't have that many Warner Brothers on their label. Anyways, so the big thing here is Roger Ebert. He's well known for not liking horror films. He doesn't like horror films. He never rates them well, and he doesn't appreciate horror at all. Surprisingly, for this one, he gave it a 3 stars out of 4. That's a lot for Roger Ebert to give it. It has a 66% on Rotten Tomato, a 6.8 out of 10 in IMDb, and a 3.5 out of 5 stars in Letterboxd. I wrote a lot of trivia for this one here. I got during filmmaking, Leslie Nielsen had a fart machine. So every time that George A. Romero would say action, he would press the button and a fart would come out and everybody would start laughing. That's something that they talked about in one of the special features here when Tom Savini was talking with everybody, with Tom Atkins and a couple of the guys there. So Leslie Nielsen, being the funny guy that he is, he had a fart machine on set and he would do it all the time. For the Father's Day segment, they used Rice Krispies as maggots, as well as real maggots, for the grandpa coming out, for the grandpa coming out of the grave. Crazy to think that they use real maggots and Rice Krispies. That's pretty good. Tom Savini did the special effects, of course. He's the greatest special effects makeup guy. Another trivia here. This is George A. Romero's only film to open up at number 1 at the box office on opening weekend. So that's crazy. There's an interesting trivia here that says the marble ashtray that plays a major part on the segment Father's Day comes out in all 5 segments. If you look carefully at all the 5 segments, that marble ashtray is in all 5 of them. It's a cool trivia that I read, and I'm like, holy shit. So if you look at the movie, make sure you look for the ashtray, and you're gonna see it in all the segments. Fluffy, the creature from the crate segment, was Tom Savini's first fully animatronic creature, and it's badass. It was a really good little creature. It was super cool. Another fact: Stephen King got an allergic reaction when he played Geordi on the short on his on the, I believe it was the third short. The third anthology segment. Yeah, so he had to put some green stuff on him all over the place, and he got an allergic reaction. He had to take a bunch of shots and medication for it. It's pretty crazy. Another interesting fact is that I didn't know about this, but George A. Romero and Stephen King are really good friends, like on their personal life. That's pretty cool. And which I'm also thinking, how come they didn't collaborate more often? I mean, if they're like really good friends and they're both into horror, I don't understand why they didn't do more stuff together, because this was a masterpiece. This was really, really good. Great movie. Another trivia here, Stephen King carried a Star Wars toy from Greedo from during the entire filming of this movie. It said it was for good luck. It was a good luck toy from Greedo from Star Wars. Another trivia here. The kid Billy that you see in the first opening, the opening of the movie and the ending of the movie, the one that connects everything, is actually Joe Hill. Joe Hill is obviously Stephen King's real life son, and I thought that was super interesting. I couldn't believe that was him, and I read it online. I'm like, oh shit, that's Stephen King's real life son. That's pretty cool. In 2018, July of 2018, Shudder announces that a Creepshow TV show produced by Nick Otero, is going to be streamed on Shudder. It's a good show. It's pretty similar to Tales from the Crypt, but I really think that nothing is going to be better than Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt was the best show like that ever. But Creepshow is trying, and it's pretty good. It's not that bad, but it's an okay show. What else do I gotta say about this Creepshow? Some notes that I took. Okay. Some notes that I took about Creepshow. Okay, so the beginning was awesome. I loved it. I liked it. I'm a huge Tom Atkins fan. I love him. He looks kind of weird without the mustache. I'm not gonna lie. I'm used to seeing him with a mustache. He didn't have a mustache in this. And what's weird about this movie is that he's not on the credits at all. He's not credited for. And I always wonder how come he wasn't in the credits. So he's the father of Billy. Billy is the kid that has a comic book, the Creepshow comic book. And the father's pissed off. He doesn't like the comic books. He throws it away. Billy gets really pissed off, and all this shit starts happening. So it's a pretty cool way to tie in all the stories through the pages of the comic book of Creepshow. I love the way how they blended in the acting, the segments with the pages. and the comic book, the drawings, fantastic, awesome, awesome, awesome. The first segment is called Father's Day, and it had a pretty great story, solid makeup effects, great production, and it has Ed Harris, which was funny because Ed Harris looks super weird dancing. He has a scene there where he's dancing around and he looks strange, very weird dancer. His dancing moves are questionable. He's dancing with his girlfriend, and I don't know. He looks so. The old guy that says "I want my cake, I want my cake," the grandpa, he really had really good effects when he came out of the graveyard, the tomb. Oh man, he looked fantastic, and it was great. It was the shortest story of the entire anthology, but it was solid. It was good. It was really good. Then the second one was the Lonesome Death of Jordan Verrill. That's the one that Stephen King is in, and basically it's it was a good one. My favorite part about it, believe it or not, is when his character Jordy is actually sitting on the couch watching WWF wrestling, and it was Bob Backlund versus Sika from 1982, and I thought it was fantastic because I'm a huge wrestling fan. I love wrestling, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell? He's watching wrestling!" I instantly, I love that scene. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that Stephen King didn't take more acting roles because I thought he was a great actor. He did really good in this. He played it very very well, and I've heard through the special features that Tom Atkins wanted to get that role, but Stephen King said no, it's gonna be my role. You take the role of Billy's dad. Well, it's kind of weird, but whatever. So this is the time that he got. This segment is where he got the allergies, and he had to get medicated. Great. Probably it could be my least favorite from the anthology, maybe. I don't know. Then the third one would be Something to Tide You Over. That's the one with Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. Basically is that Ted's character is having an affair with Leslie Nielsen's wife. So he finds out that his wife is cheating on him with a younger Ted Danson, and he gets revenge. The way he gets revenge is by digging, at gunpoint, making Ted Danson get in a hole, get dug from the neck down. He's in the sand on the beach, and then when the night comes, the tide goes up, and obviously killing Ted Danson. But at the same time, he brought a TV which shows the video of his wife also at the same position, dying, the same way. They're both dying the same way. So basically, it's like a revenge short. It's a revenge short, but the thing is that at the end of it, they both, Ted Danza and the ex-wife, they come back as zombies. So that's a pretty cool twist, and it's pretty fun. I liked it. I thought it was cool, and it was all right. The acting was great, of course. You got those two guys, and and it's funny and weird at the same time, because in 1982 horror was very frowned upon, and you don't really have A-listers like Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson at that time. There were A-listers, very popular actors doing horror movies like this. So it was kind of weird to see that happening. The fourth one is called The Crate. The Crate was awesome. I think this was probably the best one. Had a great story, had great acting, had great... this is where Fluffy, the animatronic that Tom Savini made, came into play. It was very, very awesome. It's probably the longest segment in the anthology, but it was really, really good. Well acted, great character development. It was fantastic. Also, the ashtray. By the way, that marble ashtray is in all of these segments. That's a funny thing. but you gotta pay attention to it. And then the fifth one is they're creeping up on you. This is fucking nasty, bro. It's like roaches everywhere. They got like, I don't know, 4,000 roaches. They put it in a white room, and the roaches are crawling all over. We're not talking about CGI roaches. We're talking about real fucking roaches. So if you're not scared about stuff, you're gonna be grossed off. You're gonna be grossed out of this because it was nasty. These roaches were crawling everywhere. It's a cool segment, but it was more like nasty. It was more creepy, you know. But it was very well shot, very well acted. I really like this segment, the last one, and then it goes back to, oh, actually before it goes back to Billy the kid, Billy and the father characters, to link up the whole anthology. We get to see Marty Schiff and Tom Savini. Actually, they're playing as the garbage men. It's super cool because they, Tom Savini's character gets the Creepshow magazine from the garbage and reads it and stuff. Bottom line, this was a masterpiece. The cast behind it was all-star. The acting was amazing. It came out at the right time. 1982 was, to me, this is the perfect anthology, and I just have to give it. My final rating for this movie has to be a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect movie. It's a Hall of Famer. It's 10 out of 10. Creepshow. There's no complaints about this. Now, the Scream Factory edition is amazing. You not only do you get a pretty decent sized book with a bunch of stuff. There's Knight Rider. They talk about George A. Romero, and there's some photos, and they talk about, how they made, a bunch of essays and cool pictures and all that stuff. It's a 40-page booklet. Not only does it come with that, but it also comes with a reversible artwork, which of course, really cool. I use this one, but if you want to stick to the original one, the old school that everyone's familiar with, then this is the one for you, which is really, really cool. I really like that one too. I like them both. I switch them every now and then because they're both really, really cool covers. And then, as far as special features, it has way too many special features for me to tell you. It has a great interview with a bunch of people. So it has an interview with Tom Savini. It has audio commentary with George A. Romero. It has radio spots, TV spots, still galleries, theatrical trailer, a look at the original locations now. It has deleted scenes. It just goes on and on. They hit a home run with this. Here you go. You could pause this and read all the special effects it has. This is a Creepshow and is a fantastic edition from Scream Factory. This is back when Scream Factory was really good. I used to love Scream Factory. Now, not so much. But definitely a 10 out of 10. Perfect anthology, perfect movie. I highly recommend this if you've never seen it, which I doubt it. Everybody has seen this by now. But if you're new to the horror universe, I suggest you watch this. It'll blow your mind. It's really, really good. Monkey Shines, that was okay. 6.5. And then you got the 5 out of 10. Survival of the Dead. Definitely the worst one. The in between one. And the perfect masterpiece. One of the greatest anthologies of all time. Well acted and well respected. Everybody talks good stuff about it, and there's a reason why. It's a great fucking anthology. Other than that, this completes my George A. Romero little craziness that I went through past week. I saw those movies. I think the next thing that I'm gonna be talking about or watching is gonna be possession movies. It's the one kind of movie that really scares the shit out of me all every time I see it. Possession movies scares the shit out of me. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to see it, but you know what? I'm gonna grow a pair of balls and sit down and watch some possession movies and see how it goes. Other than that, I hope you guys have a nice night. It is very late right now. It's probably like 4 in the morning right now. I should get a timer or a clock or somewhere around here because I lose track of time. But it's probably like 4:30 in the morning. I'm tired. I'm beat. I'm just here sharing with you guys my opinions on George A. Romero and on his films. Great, great, great director. Sorry, Survival of the Dead sucked and Monkey Shines wasn't all that great, but Creepshow, for sure, you gotta watch that shit, man. It's fucking badass. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. My happy ass is gonna go to sleep now. Have a good night. See you later. Bye.